Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Why the Hell Not podcast. I have Apollo, one half of Young Lords, and yeah, okay, how's it going, man?
Not too bad.
Good,
How's it
good.
going?
It's going good. Tell me a little about yourselves. How did you get into music? Did you play an instrument? Just tell me how you got into electronic music.
I'll let Sam take the lead on this one.
All right, word. I guess like my first interaction with electronic music was I think I was like 8. I bought Homework by Daft Punk, and that was like my first like dive into it, and I
Daft
started.
Punk,
I
yeah.
loved it. But I mean, like growing up, I've been playing bass for pretty much like my whole life. I played in a bunch of punk bands growing up, even in throughout college and up to recent. So I've just always been playing some type of music. I started getting into electronic music just mainly like DJing, probably like 6 or 7 years ago, mainly mixing house. But then I started getting really into the heavier realm of electronic music and started producing about like 3 years ago, mainly making just kind of like a mix of like future bass and mid tempo. But now I'm leaning more down back to like heavier like techno and more atmospheric stuff right now. That's my current project.
Yeah, yeah. For
And
me,
you?
oh yeah. So I started off playing piano, like typical, almost stereotypical Asian like thing, but it actually helped way more than I thought it would. Like I hated like lessons when I was younger, but it helped me like um, be tonal and like help produce music. And I was always one to be that person at parties, showing like playing new songs for people, being excited about it. And then Ian, who unfortunately could not be here today, the other half of Young Lords, after we took him to his first rave, Escape, he bought the launch pad because we watched Madyon and thought it was super dope, and it just went from there. Like, yo, we could actually like make beats, and it was dope. So we just kind of ran with it. And the thing was, me, Ian, and Sam were all in the same fraternity together. So, obviously, like music is a big thing at mixers and events, and whatnot. So we kind of like teamed up in a sense because Sam came from a band background, playing bass. Like he just played bass at a show last week. So he kind of teamed up with us, saw what we were doing, and then we all kind of graduated, but we still kept doing music on the side, and we decided to create Sound Shrine, which is a collective of just like music all across the board, hip hop, rap, EDM. Like we just like whatever gets the head bobbing, the head bobbing factor. Yeah.
Yeah, I think creating a collective with all different genres is it's a hard thing for it to break through in
Yeah.
terms of success,
Yeah.
but I think it's an amazing thing because you're not, being genre Nazis or elitists.
Yeah, it's like more fun
You're
that way too,
Yeah, and
Yeah.
because most people like different kinds of music, you're more just looking for the good music, right?
Yeah,
Or
just we like good energy.
yeah,
Yeah.
and you can make. I mean,
Vibes.
I love dubstep, I love rap, I love rock, I love reggae,
Mhm.
and you. The one beauty about EDM is that you can incorporate all these different genres
Yeah, it's like a
and use that
fusion.
as influence
Yeah.
to make your electronic music.
Yeah, these days it's
So
like three different genres in like one mixing pot. It's crazy. It's like a little bit like down tempo and like house, but then it could be like electro. Like I can't even put a label on it.
it's funny when people try to put a label on every single track,
Yeah.
and then there's so many nuances. You're like, yeah, but it has like a bass house riff, and then it goes into dark techno at this point. And
Yeah,
people
like
just like to put a name on things and
almost
like
like
to
critique it.
analyze things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about more about Sound Shrine. So are you guys like I know you guys are a collective. So are
Mhm.
you curating artists and releasing music? Have you been throwing events? What is kind of Sound Shrine's main objective right now?
We originally started just throwing shows, just warehouse parties, things like that. We kind of wanted to just not stick to one genre of music when we were throwing these shows. Just kind of keep it, if we saw somebody that we knew that kind of spun and we liked their style, we wanted to incorporate them in, and then just kind of have just each set kind of just build naturally like you would at a club, but not sticking to one main. Like, so if we're not just going to do a house night, we're not going to do like a dubstep night. It's all going to be kind of mixed in and get people that fit with that.
Yeah.
Just kind of like our philosophy for it, I guess.
Like one of the things that kind of spurred SoundTrend too was that me and Ian, the Young Lords, we would be hired to like play DJ sets at clubs, But then there would be these formats, like, oh, you can't turn up too hard before the main headliner and whatnot, and like that's cool and all, but like we like playing whatever we want, and we like that freedom because that's what makes it fun, right? It's no fun if you're being told what to do. So we created SoundTrend. That was like another reason we created SoundTrend, just so we could pick the lineup, which was us and like one or two like guest DJs or performers, and just invite out all of our friends from Long Beach, from LA, and yeah, our events that we've been throwing have been so much fun. It's just like we hire a photographer, videographer, and like it's just something unique, and it's just 100% creativity that makes it super dope.
So it's funny because I was, well, I still am a DJ trying, an up and coming DJ playing shows, and you run into this
So
club
you could probably
format,
like vibe it,
where one, you can't play heavier than the artist after that's gonna come on after you. You have to fit like a
like
specific genre.
or
We don't want this, type of music. You have to maybe hit a ticket quota to
you
perform.
already know the deal.
And
it's exactly like that.
So and I feel like in a way you kind of learn that there's this cycle of when you. So I started my event company, and I started it because I didn't want DJs to have to promote. I wanted promoters to be separate from DJs. I wanted DJs not to be forced by tickets. I wanted them to get booked by the quality of their production, and if I liked them as a brand.
Mm-hmm.
But then you learn that these institutions, they're the reason why these companies are successful. And you start to hit these roads, you start to hit these little bumps where you're like, okay, well, I mean, it's hard to, when you're an up-and-coming event company, it's hard to sell out a room without having boots on the ground as promoters and using your DJ's networks. And you run into these things, and you're basically what I'm trying to get at is how are you guys going to keep your format when expanding? Or are you guys happy with kind of your current situation? And what are you trying to avoid that's different with other collectives?
Oh, can I take this one first?
Yeah, you go.
Okay, so we had this thing where like, we used to DJ in the back room of Sutra. It was like this like tiny ass like room, in Costa Mesa. And our thing was that when we threw our shows, we didn't want to rent out a big place to start off with. We didn't want to scale too big. Our thing was that, it's all about packing the room, whether the room is big or small, because that's what makes it dope. Just like people just kind of cramped, just like dancing to the music, and like it's dark. So we started off purposely with kind of like a smaller venue because it was easier to pack and, easier to sell out. So it's like it's easier to kind of give yourself the advantage of, making a dope event. So that's what we did with our first show. The second show we did a little bigger, and we're just kind of like scaling from there because, you could blast it all you want and get a big ass venue, but honestly, there's a higher risk of like maybe filling half the room. And it's like no matter how dope the music is or whatnot, the vibe just isn't as cool as like, boiler room type of vibe, where it's like kind of small and cramped. So we purposely kind of went that route, and it's been kind of working out for us in that sense.
I'd say the biggest thing is just to kind of set realistic goals for yourself and expectations, and not to oversaturate the market, especially oversaturating with your own shows by getting the same. I think the biggest thing is to not conform to one specific type of genre night. I think that if you can provide people with variety, then you have more longevity. And so that's kind of something that we've been trying to stick with. Obviously, we're still up and coming and stuff, so we aren't the most well established, but I think that by maintaining to that kind of philosophy and that mantra, then I think that you're able to kind of start seeing more growth naturally, and kind of just keep more of like a underground approach to kind of getting bigger. I definitely don't want to, again, I think oversaturation is the biggest thing. I think, everybody wants to be, the next space yacht, but the fact of the matter is it's so hard to do be that good consistently every single night, like once a week, you know what I mean, for a whole month, especially when you're starting. I think that you have to just, again, set those realistic goals, and you could work up to that level, and that could be an end goal, but it's the in between, here and then.
Mm-hmm. And like we have this like group chat between me, Ian, and Sam where we like always are discussing ideas, and we always try to think be played devil's advocate. So like, other people are like, you have to fit into a niche. You have to like work into like one thing and just be really good at that one genre or something like that. So we thought of it like that too. But honestly, like I said, it's just not as fun. So yeah.
Well, I think your idea of or the way that you think, you'd rather have a crowded dance floor than an empty big place.
Mm.
It's a really smart idea. I think if a new person, I'm going to try out this event, this is new company, or maybe they know one of the DJs. If they go into a room that's packed, they're going to think, oh, this is cool.
Yeah, because that's,
then
yeah.
it's like a psychological thing.
Yeah.
So I think that's great.
And it's cheaper too.
Yeah, of
start
course.
with,
And
so much
it's
more manageable.
you learn to manage in terms of the finances,
build
the cost
hype
of the venue.
Yeah.
You're able to manage that more and then upscale with your experience.
Yeah, it's like more exclusive too. It's like there's a lot of good reasons why we decided to go through that.
I think with what you said about genres, I think that you are correct. Like there are many companies that have a niche genre and
Oh, yeah.
And do that, and I guess you're trying to avoid the the up and down of the genre itself, correct? Like by being a more diverse company, you won't have to sit through the lulls, right?
I never really thought about that, but that is true. Yeah.
But I guess it makes it more difficult in a sense because you're not. Some people they like knowing a certain event company because they know they're going to hear the music that they want to hear.
Yeah, they get the diehard fans if you're in the niche.
So if you don't have a niche, you kind of have to find maybe something else about your events that you're bringing to the table that's unique.
That is true. Yeah.
Like for instance, my buddy, I'm playing at La Cave in Costa Mesa tonight. My buddy, he throws, shout out Nick Mora. He's the owner of Inner Bloom Events.
Yeah.
He always does like really cool art stuff he has like art showcases where he'll have like a guy painting like a 10-foot tall painting, like all trippy he'll
like
do
at
one
the
in
show?
like 30 minutes. Yeah, and he'll do a bunch of them.
That's
word.
You can buy them and a bunch of different art showcases. So I really thought that was cool. And he always picks more intimate venues, but he sells them out and does super is very successful with what he does. So
that sounds
I
dope,
think being unique, especially because there's so many companies trying to be the next space yacht, like you said, is a good thing. And I don't think not sticking to one genre is going to hurt you guys. It just kind of you have to have like maybe just a different approach in terms of why people are going to grab onto your brand.
For sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think it presents its own case of a set of challenges,
Yeah.
But that's part of why you do it, I feel like me personally, I always like kind of like being presented with the challenge and then trying to figure out a way to come up with a solution for that.
Yeah, we're definitely still learning. But like what we agreed upon is that longevity is key. So like, most companies, really talented companies, really talented artists, they tend to give up just because they can't, they can't play the long game. And like, if you have some sort of income where you can afford to play the long game 5-10 years and, going about our route, I guess kind of spread thin for now, but just kind of seeing the trends, seeing what's up, but at the same time getting better at what we do, while some other people like who are really good tend to like start giving up, after like 15 years. If we're still in the game, we have an advantage that I feel like we would have long-term, that only long-term can give. You know what I'm saying? So, so we thought about all that too, and we're just like, we're in it because we like doing it. We honestly really like music and like the feeling it gives.
I think at the end of the day, that's pretty much what matters the most. I feel it's easy to get caught up in all of the, the minutiae of like kind of like.
Yeah, because we were there too. Like we were just like, oh, maybe we should do it like this or that, and we have tried different things. So like I said, we're very open-minded, very like chill about everything.
I think when a lot of people try and start an event company, they always, well, at least what I've seen, a lot of people do like renegade things in the desert because they have the freedom. It's not necessarily, you don't have to worry about renting a venue.
Yeah, sound permits, all that stuff.
And you get to have more creativity and freedom with creating the event, what you want to do. But then once you get into the club scene and you're talking about venues and it becomes, about brass taxes, about
more
formalized investors
formalized
involved,
then
it's hard to kind of keep yourselves, your brand alive with your original message and goals.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind as you go through. Just piece of tip advice from a person who has thrown events before. Just
Oh yeah,
try
yeah.
and stick to your guns and play the slow game, which you guys seem like you guys have been doing, and
hmm
that's freaking awesome. Is there anyone who's listening? Is there any upcoming Soundshine events that we can go and see?
Ooh.
Well, right now we're kind of in the planning stages of our next one.
Yeah.
Looking for probably late spring. So we'll keep you, posted on that for sure.
There's a
But,
spot in LA that might happen. We're kind of torn between two venues at the moment, like, cause our most recent one was really dope. Where was that? Like,
Probably
City
like-
of Industry.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then this other person reached out to us and offered to let us use his venue, you know, in return for like bringing out people. And it's I forget what it's called, but it's in LA. And it has a really sick decor, and that could be a big one for us because that costs a lot to rent out. But he reached out to us and offered to you know, like share it with us basically. And what we like to do with our events is, in order to, like I said, increase the chances of it succeeding, we like to pair it up with like a special event. So last time we did it on a holiday weekend, Veterans Day. Was that what it was, or Memorial Day?
It was Labor Day.
Labor Day, that's what
Labor
it was. So it was on a Sunday, but no one had work Monday.
It was also
So-
a big party weekend.
So a
too,
ton of
like
people
that.
came out, yeah. And this, usually we try to pair it up with like someone's birthday or like friends' birthdays and like kind of like, just add to the main theme of it. So we're kind of like in the works of that right now, but we kind of know what we want to try and do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The planning stage is our next one, though.
Yes,
so
yes.
we should be having something start coming out probably end of spring.
Yeah, good things
So-
take time.
I'm looking forward to.
So, what with Sound Shrine? What would you say is like your current like crowning achievement or best event, favorite moment? What has been your best experience with starting Sound Shrine?
I think personally, our first show in the warehouse where we just
Oh,
rented
that
out
was
this. We rented
gnarly.
out this warehouse. We have a friend who just has like this giant LED wall that he operates, like a legitimate one that you'd see in like
Yeah.
a club. And he basically just ran visuals for us the whole time.
It's
and
like
we
as
got-
big as like this wall. This
yeah,
wall, I would say.
it was pretty
It
fun.
was almost blinding. That was our first show ever. Yeah.
But yeah, he was just like running, just running visuals and everything. We had lasers going, and it was really like
Yeah, we had some
small,
fog
intimate.
machines. Yeah.
And we kind of just like let loose with our sets and just had a lot of fun with it. And I think personally for me, that was probably one of my favorite sets that I played.
Oh yeah, you killed it on that one for sure.
And I just thanks, dude.
It was-
And
yeah.
I don't know. It
Fries.
was just a lot of fun. I just got to go really heavy, and I didn't have to worry about kind of just any restrictions or anything like that. And I feel like it definitely like resonated with the people in the crowd. And so I think
Yeah,
that's
and,
probably
and
my
for that show,
favorite event that we did.
you were like, we agreed that, oh yeah, you could be headliner for that one.
Yeah.
And then if we could be the headliner for the next show,
Yeah.
which happened, which was dope. So we
We
kind of
usually
like
pass
have
the
that dope
torch.
agreement. Like it's just having fun with it. Like, okay, you want to headline this one? He's like, come on, you headline last one. Like, who should we pick for our celebrity guest? But like someone who could also like kind of vibe with us and like bring something new to the table. So yeah, I personally like the second show a lot.
Yeah.
That one was wild. Yeah.
That one did get a little wild. Though. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie. That one got a little out of hand.
Yeah.
That one got out of hand.
Do you
But
guys
in a
do you
good
guys
way.
have a website or an Instagram?
Yeah,
for
we have an
Soundtrain?
Instagram.
Yep.
Yeah.
You want to shout it out?
What-
Dude, you run it, man. You gotta know it.
Oh
You,
my
gotta,
God,
you don't know it.
okay.
I don't know it. I don't do the socials.
You don't know your social media?
He
account?
does the socials, dude.
I'll bring it up in like,
I don't
okay,
handle
it's
that one.
the Sound Shrine. That's it, literally.
The Sound Shrine. no underscores.
No, it's just flat out the
The
Sound
Sound
Shrine.
Shrine.
Is that funny? Like,
I'm surprised you guys got that handle. That sounds like that could be like a you guys should do
Yeah.
a permanent venue called the Sound Shrine. That
Just
should
a
be your
permanent-
yeah,
handle.
like
That's it.
we want to create
That
like
should
some
be
sort of
your angle.
headquarters. Yeah, because it's like
You
the
should get
Sound
enough
Shrine.
capital to buy a venue, call it the Sound Shrine.
Yeah.
And then
when you find some
So you
investors,
just
Damn.
do whatever, right? That's it.
Yeah.
yep.
and like
And
the
we just
tagline's
run
kind
that
of like
every weekend.
music's like our religion. It's like holy. Like any type of music's loud.
So let's talk about Apollo and yeah okay right now.
Word.
Do you guys have any upcoming releases? Any shows you want to talk about?
So it's kind of all incorporated into our Sound Shrine lineup. I initially came up with Young Lords with Ian first, and then that's kind of like hip hop, trap, dubstep, house, like electro house. But I kind of like the feels music as well to EDM, like Porter, San Holo, like stuff like that. So I created Apollo, and that's more of like that epic, like atmospheric kind of like that kind of like vibey, feelsy
Like
music.
future bass.
Yeah, like Manila Killa, like that kind of like.
Like maybe a Linium, like
Yeah,
happy
Linium.
mid-tempo
Yes,
stuff.
yes.
Yeah.
So
Like big saw waves, super saw.
epic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
side chaining.
Cause that shit at a show, like, cause we personally like heard music like that at a show, and it's just such a game changer too. Like the trap and all that is cool, but like we like both.
Yeah, I mean, trap and dubstep makes you put on a stank face and like
The
you know
bass
get
face,
down,
yes.
and then
Trap
like
arms,
a lot of that
Yeah.
like emotional mid-tempo future bass stuff, like you said, can hit you in the feels. You know,
Yeah.
A lot of times the lyrics are beautiful. They have they
Yeah.
go into the melody with a song. It'll slow
100%,
down, and then
yeah.
it hits it with some heavy stacked chord.
Yeah.
that just sounds
You already
very
know, yeah.
big and almost like orchestral in a way.
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
like it's
you know,
like that sound, like that feeling you get when you hear those sounds is like, yo, like other people have got to like check this out too. That's like how I feel about it. So that's why I made Apollo.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so that type of music is so different live than like headbanging.
My thing
hard
is, yeah,
music.
some
It's such a
music
different
is
vibe.
meant to be listened to loud. Like you can't listen to dubstep like on a phone. Like yeah, like
I mean, I don't
on
know,
phone
dude.
speaker.
Depends.
I like to
That's
get
a
a little
true
dirty
fan.
sometimes on my way home from work to dubstep, but that's not what I make. But you know, I definitely it
Yeah,
has a
yeah.
special spot in my heart for me.
Yeah.
So do you guys have any releases? I don't think we touched on
Yeah,
that.
so I have one release coming out. Actually, I have two. One's called Take You There, and another one, I haven't really named it, but my proudest song is this Trust Nobody, that Selena Gomez Cashmere Cat song. I have a remix of that on Apollo's page that racked up like 350,000 hits, and that was cool. And so yeah, just kind of like I can tell that I guess people vibe with this, and at first, it's always the songs that you're like, oh, this is pretty cool, but it just racked up and like it gets 150 plays like every day. So that's actually a cool feeling. Yeah. But then
Pretty
like
tight.
I
I
just remember
don't
every now and
get
then.
how certain songs blow up and then certain songs don't. Like I feel like every
It's
artist
like-
has like their main song. I feel that they didn't know that was going to be their
They
big
always
breakthrough
say that.
song.
Yeah.
Literally, I
And-
hear that too many times for it to be a coincidence.
Because I have one song that it's like
Yo, you
it's
guys
like
show us your
the-
Instagram later too. Yeah, we gotta link up.
I'm nothing special, but I have like
No, just-
one
just,
song
yeah.
on SoundCloud that has like 30,000 plays and like 500 to 600 likes, and
It's a cool feeling, huh?
yeah, but it's not mixed well. It's very raw.
Yeah,
like
you're your own
the-
harshest critic. Like that's
the,
what
the
everyone says.
conceptual aspect of it is great, and it's such a simple song. I think it's a bass line, a synth, an ambience, and drums.
Yo, that
And
kind of makes
that's
sense
it.
though.
And it's so simple. And
I've never heard the
just
song, yeah.
with vocals, and I never would have thought that would be the song that like any notifications I have in terms of SoundCloud, because I've been focusing on Spotify this past year.
Spotify's dope too,
I
yeah.
switched over.
Yeah.
But any notification I get on, I still get stuff for that song, and it's like I don't get like how certain things
Yeah, so
get
you
put
just-
on
yeah.
like how they get brought up to people's feeds.
Mhm.
I mean I know some things about it, but it
Yeah,
still
there's, like,
blows my
algorithms
mind.
and all
Yeah, it's
that.
just like totally random, dude. And it kind of pisses me off sometimes. I'm just
Yeah.
like, dude, out of all the songs,
Yeah.
this one,
you have a song that you would think would do better,
Yeah.
and then
Exactly.
but that
Exactly.
one doesn't get
like,
any
yo,
love, and you're
Nope.
just
this
like
one's gonna be a
you're
hit, and then
confused.
like
I
you're just
mean,
like,
granted, for my SoundCloud, that's just throwing it in the pit. Like I do not do any promotion or
Yeah, yeah.
pay
just
for
throw it
any
to
marketing.
works.
It's just like let's see, and that one just happened because
That's like
of
true
the
art, yeah.
tags or whatever. But now I've been taking more of a methodical approach.
yeah, an
and,
analytical like strategy.
Well, trying to release on labels. I just released on a label.
Oh, dope.
Being
Congrats.
more patient with my music.
Yes, yes.
Doing Spotify, reaching out Spotify playlists. So what I'm trying to get at is, what are your guys' goals as an artist? Is it directly connected to Soundshine, I'm sure, in a way,
I
bringing
think
that
our-
up along with yours?
Yeah.
But do you have personal goals, or are they kind of combined goals, and what are they for this upcoming year to hit at the end of this
Let me
year?
just start the topic, and you could kind of run off. Yeah, I think marketing and music promotion is what we kind of want to focus on now, because we got a good solid catalog going. We have something we can bring to the table, production-wise, DJing-wise. We can DJ and produce. So yeah, we kind of want to just get out there and like, be a part of like different things like podcasts or like collaborations. So music promotion and marketing, really.
Yeah, you're doing it right now. We don't
Yeah.
got a big audience, but it's something.
Yo, it's something that
some
we'll
promotion.
blast on our
We're-
pages too
That's
and our
fun, too,
friends.
yeah.
So it's
Yeah,
like
and
it's like a win-win.
it's a
That's why I
win-win for
like
both.
collaborations.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. As long
Yeah.
as like the people are chill, you know, catch a vibe, and like
And
That was
that's what it's all about.
the goal with this studio is, you know, we just got internet like last week, but
Word, word.
we're gonna be doing live streaming here. So love to have you guys on. You know,
Yeah.
Oh,
do
yeah,
a
yeah,
live
yeah.
stream, and also
You can meet Ian too.
you can send us a SoundCloud link for this episode. We'll post a SoundCloud mix for you guys as well.
That'd be dope.
So we want to have DJs performing. We have big visions for this place. We want to do like a studio, but we just wanted to lock down the first initial thing, which is the podcast. So
Yeah, one thing at a time, right?
Yeah, you gotta take
Yeah,
gotta
yeah,
take it in
make it
steps.
good, yeah.
But I really think there's so many aspects that you have to consider to get big as a DJ. You know, a lot of people, they get super focused on production. Granted, that's probably the most important thing to get
Yeah,
super
we
focused
were
on.
there too. Yeah, we can relate
But
with that.
if you can make works of art and no one can hear them, you
Yeah.
know, you need to have
Yeah.
a team, or at least
A
you need to know
team.
everything. You have to
Yeah.
look into social media, how to do things, and it's a freaking job. You are grinding.
It's an investment, really, like of your time, money, and energy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's a process. It takes. I mean, some people get not lucky. They're amazing producers. They
Yeah.
get a label under them, or someone takes them under their wing, and rightfully so, and they blow up quick. But
Yep.
there's a bunch of people that it's a long process,
Yeah.
and so setting small goals is very important. So
I think the key is that, yeah, like the people who like blow up, they initially they kind of set themselves up for to be lucky, you know, like they kind of like did put themselves out there in a way that they can be lucky, like they could be noticed or like be
they're
put into
bringing
opportunities.
flash drives to shows and giving them to
Throwing 'em out
artists.
yeah,
you know,
stuff like that, like just like
hustling.
yeah, and then the luck happens, and then like, you know, when someone notices you and you're like you've been preparing for that, that's when like boom, just take off. But they're not. I don't think they're like chilling. And some people it takes longer than others. But I think that, you know, you do it long enough. Like I said, it's a generational thing. Like people who've been doing it for a while, they like give up. They're like, oh, maybe I'm not for this. But that's why I think the long game is important. And to play the long game, you need to have fun with it and just work with people that you honestly won't get sick of. You know, that you can like chill with. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're never too late and you're never too early. Like it's
It's a mindset thing.
It's a process. You know,
Yeah.
you don't want to give up. Dude, it's so
a
so
perception.
tough not to get discouraged in
For
this
sure.
industry.
Yo, everyone gets
And
discouraged.
you gotta do it because you love it, and you'll see a slow progression. I mean,
Most
like,
definitely.
Yeah.
and I'm sorry, I don't think we got to your goals. Do you want to
Oh, yeah,
chime
yeah.
in on?
Yeah, sure.
down.
So right now, I mean, I've just been focusing a lot on a couple just songs I've been working on. My whole like philosophy when I put out music is I like to do like probably like 2 to 3 track EPs, or even 2 to 4, I guess. Because I want a cohesive work to come out. I was never really a big fan of just like individual singles coming out and then just kind of just existing for their little moment in time, and then they don't have anything to tie them into with the artist, maybe other than like sound or like similar song structures.
Yeah,
So
I
like
feel that.
to,
I feel that. Yeah.
always just kind of like have like a little, I think of all my writing as just like a project, and then I piece them all together and they create like just like a micro set, I guess, of all similar sounds, similar kind of emotions and atmosphere, and then they kind of just all come together as one work.
Yeah,
That's-
definitely get like a theme from your stuff.
That's really like not an old school way to think, but a really smart way that brings back the elements. I mean, back in the day when you had an album, all the songs on that album normally used the same instruments, the same amps. You had that
That's true, yeah.
similar tone. The guy who mastered your album, he mastered it as an album.
Exactly.
You know, and so when people are releasing singles, oh, maybe I'm going to get it mastered by this guy. Maybe I'm going to get it mastered by that guy. Maybe I'm going to use this kick on this song and this song. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but
It's not as cohesive.
you get a cohesive brand. You get a flavor. You know, when a specific artist comes on and you're like, I know who this is. I don't know this song, but I know who made this song.
Yeah.
You know, getting that
I just got goosebumps, yeah, 'cause I
familiarity
totally
and-
feel
and
that.
Going back to your roots in terms of like, even though everything's digital now, having a 4-track cohesive EP that creates a song, there's more art to it than just I'm gonna make this super heavy drop with quarter notes, and there's, even if it is a super heavy drop of quarter notes, if you're creating an image and it takes you on a journey through this EP, it's it's way more well thought of in my opinion than just doing singles. Nothing wrong with doing singles, but I just
Yeah.
love the art of the album, the art of the EP,
That's-
doing something as a
That's
whole.
definitely something that I wanted to carry over from like playing in bands and stuff. And when I would be in a band and we would write an EP together and record it and go through the whole process, I kind of carried that over into when I started making electronic music. Because I do think it's important for branding and you discover how to create your own signature sound that way. When you're just kind of constantly thinking about your songs that you're writing in the context of your other work. I think it's, again, I definitely I did put out a separate single after my EP that I put out over the summer, like this last winter. I think it was like November.
Oh, yeah.
And I just wanted to put that out there because it's something that I've been working on that's like a step away from the sound from my EP, but it's transitioning to what I've been working on over the past couple months. And my goal for this year is to put out another EP and of like similar sounding works to what my single that I put out.
Those those 3-4 track EPs you put out, they're like kind of like what I personally realize is it's like a snack size content. It's like, okay, if you like one part of one song, they know exactly where to find a bit more of that, and it's not too much of a commitment to listen to like a whole like 12 track like LP or like an album or anything like that.
Yeah, it's like
so it's like snack size.
Like
Yeah,
15, 16
people like
minutes
snack
of your
size
time,
content these days.
Yeah.
If you create that signature sound, there is like a relief in terms of live performances too, because especially once you make it, people know what they're going to see. It's less of a I should.
It's not as confusing.
Yeah, less crowd reading, not thinking about what should I?
Oh, I never thought
how
about that,
should I do my set? Because I have these 5 originals. Should I do harder in between those originals? If you have a solid brand and a solid tone, you just do your show. And
I like that. I like how you said it, like less
respond.
crowd reading. Like you can just focus on your performance. That's
I
never thought of it like that. That's actually really cool.
You're basically just mixing, but you're showcasing your music in a way as like an artist would. Of course, granted, like you're still mixing, you're creating things on the fly. It is a performance, but I feel like it's less of I'm hoping that of course you're gonna hope if the crowd you want the crowd.
It's less of like
to
outward, but it's like inward coming out type of deal.
You don't have to stress about what type of performance I'm necessarily going to put on.
Exactly.
Less so, because you have your sound. You know what you're doing.
Yeah.
A lot of up and coming DJs, depending on the club they're at, they have completely different sets. A lot of DJs, they just want to get booked. Oh, drum and bass artist. Oh, I can play opener. I'm done. I'm going to do drum and bass. Next week I'm going to do house.
Yeah.
And it's very different. It's very stressful until you get
It's
into
hard to build a
that
fan base
production
that way, right?
stage where
It's hard to like build a fan base in a sense that way, right? If you're always
it's
kind of
hard to
switching
build
up.
a fan base.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's what
you
I
have to be.
just thought that right
you
now.
have to
Yeah.
be something like you just have to. I don't know. Be viral with videos
Marketing and all
or
that,
and I mean you can make let's say you produce 10 genres and you kill it on all 10 genres. If you have one name for it, you can definitely make it. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but there's a thing to say about why people have multiple aliases.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're like one of like the DJs that came up in the golden era of like 2014, fuck genres as your genre,
But it's definitely not as
you can't
targeted.
do that now, I feel.
It's not as focused.
I feel like now
That's interesting.
I think more and more people are looking for artists that have like their specific sound and their specific, like what they go into the show knowing what they're looking for. Especially now with, I think that's the direction that electronic music is heading in, and for now, unless you're like just even with house, where house you can pretty much play a lot of you can still play house, and if you're like a big house DJ, you can mix in a bunch of other people's songs.
Yeah, but there's like different types
now
of house
is
too.
becoming a lot more sound focused, I feel.
Yeah, I agree with
And
that.
kind
Oh
of
my gosh, it's crazy. Like I am not an elitist at all. I like playing different subgenres of one main genre in a set. But there's elitists everywhere, and
Yeah.
it's
It's
hard
it's
to
part of
can't
any-
escape them, man. Anywhere you
yeah.
go.
If so when people say, oh, there's a, not to go against what you guys just said, but
Oh yeah.
if you go to see techno artists and some guys
for sure.
doing like Melbourne bounce,
Yeah.
people are gonna rip their hair
Oh,
out.
for sure.
Like,
Yeah.
So-
The
It's
techno
like when
fans and the
Getter.
black turtlenecs
when-
aren't gonna like that.
it's like
the-
when
the
Getter
whole
did his
Getter
show.
thing with the visceral.
Yeah, and he was like, people were
changed his
expecting like
style.
heavy ass dubstep, and then he played his feels, and then he got so much backlash.
got
He
booed,
canceled
yeah.
the rest of
canceled
the.
his tour.
I
Yeah,
think
Yeah, that was so
and then he
messed up.
came back up as
Yeah.
Getter, went to his old logo. He's playing the hard stuff as Getter, and I don't know where I haven't followed up too much on it, but I
Yeah,
think he
same.
might have split the alias again because he realized that like Getters, you
Yeah.
know, they want that hybrid.
Yeah, and that's like a real life
track,
example
you
of
know?
like not being, I guess, like, you know, switching it up on your fans with the same name, and then yeah, that kind of shit would happen.
I
yeah.
think people can do it. I mean, David Bowie, he would change like every 3 years. He would change like a genre. There's many people who
For
can
sure.
go through a process. You just have to have diehard fans that love you, and you're gonna
Yeah.
lose fans. Like if you switch a genre, you're gonna lose fans. Like I did
Most def.
dubstep for a few years, and then
Word.
basically started over again as a house DJ with the same name, and it was rough. But
Yeah. But it
finally
is
dug
possible,
myself
like-
out of that hole.
Like Porter Robinson is an example for that. Like he does like hard electro house. And they release his worlds. Fucking changes the game.
Yeah, but
I
he
just
can
think
do whatever
Porter-
he wants.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Porter
yeah,
Robinson
he's
could
a
do
god.
anything, and I'd still throw him money, dude. Like, I think,
That's once you
He's
get
so
to that
sick.
level. But he
Yeah.
did have a sound in a brand. You know, you
Yeah.
can go through. That's the other weird thing too, is you can go through like tempo differences and change up your rhythm structure, and go to different genres, but they still have the same sound. They
Yes.
all using their.
I know
paintbrush.
exact. Yeah.
and I
totally
think
vibe
it's
with
all
that.
about like the themes that you use in your music that allow you to switch genres like that. Because as long as you're keeping the same thematic elements in your songwriting, then I think you can pretty
Yeah.
much kind of do whatever you want.
And they do it with swag too. Like
Yeah.
that's what it is. Really, they're just like, all right, we could flip it up this way and make it still like bounce. I think that's dope.
So guys, I have a club to get to. It was. It
Oh,
was
yeah, no worries,
So nice for
worries.
you guys to come
This
down
is a
here.
dope
I
intro
appreciate it
podcast.
so much.
Yeah, no, thanks for having us.
Anything you'd like to shout out? Shout out your Instagram handles. Any shout outs to people?
Word.
Okay, yeah. Shout
Yo,
out to
You
go
can
first.
follow at the_OG_Ken_Doll.
Yeah, you can follow Apollo at Apollo Feels, ending with a Z, the Sound Shrine, and the Young Lords 2, all on the gram.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it. I had Apollo and yeah, okay. Thank you so much. This has been the Why the Hell Not podcast. Good night.